Hi, I'm Adam from the Wellington Astronomical Society, and in this video we're going to be looking at the night sky for May 2026. As usual, we'll take a look at the moon phases and planets, and have a look at what's happening with our comet visitor before moving on to a tour of the constellations and deep sky from Stellarium. Let's get started. Let's start with the moon phases. It was full on the 2nd of May, and we'll be having last quarter on the 10th, new moon on the 17th, coming back to first quarter on the 23rd, and then full again on the 31st, giving us a blue moon. Now, this has had several definitions over the ages, but the most commonly accepted now is the second full moon in a calendar month is known as a blue moon. So while the moon won't actually be turning blue on the day, it will still be a blue moon. Before we move off the moon, there's a couple of things I'd like to dwell on there. Firstly, if you want to look at the moon's craters and valleys through a telescope or binoculars, the best time is when it's half illuminated, because that's when the sun's light is from the side rather than full on. This side light casts better shadows across the surface of the moon and makes its features easier to see. First quarter is the best time for this, so around the 23rd in the evening. The other thing is that the moon is a useful ruler for measuring how big things appear in the sky. It's easily understandable for non-astronomers to imagine the size of something as related to the size of the full moon. Now, the moon is half a degree across, and since a degree is divided up into 60 minutes, we can say that the moon's size is 30 arc minutes. Anyway, let's move on to the planets in the northwestern sky in the evening. We have Jupiter slowly moving further west and lower as the month progresses, and by the end of the month it will be joined by Venus, which you will be able to get a glimpse of in the western sky just after sunset. To see the other interesting planets, namely Mars and Saturn, you will need to be watching the eastern sky just before sunrise. Now, while we're on the subject of solar system objects, there's the PANSTARRS comet, which is visible low in our western sky just after sunset. At the moment, because it's moving, it won't be in exactly the same place from day to day. At the start of the month it was below Rigel, very low on the western horizon. Now to find that, look for the bright stars in Orion, the 3 stars of Orion's belt, which around 7 p.m. early in the month will be low in the west, pointing straight down. Rigel, or Puanga, is the bright star to the left. You'll want to come down from that towards the horizon to find the comet. Now, as the month progresses, that comet will climb up higher, eventually passing Rigel on the 9th. And then from there, it will continue to climb, although it will be growing dimmer also. This is a picture of it from our Cretny Observatory. Now, take a look at this one if you can, while it's still visible, because it won't be back for 170,000 years. Let's move on to the deep sky and take a look at what's appearing this month. For this, we're on the 17th, which is the date of the new moon. At 7 p.m, looking to the east, we can see Antares rising, very close to opposition, and nearby the centre of the Milky Way is also rising with it. The rest of the Milky Way arch can easily be seen passing almost directly overhead. Further to the northeast, we have Arcturus, which, like Antares, is a red giant star. Above it, you will see Spica, which often twinkles and seems to be rapidly shifting colour. And higher to the southeast is our signature Southern Cross, which was so popular they put it on the flag. And for some more flag trivia, it's the only constellation to appear on a national flag, in fact of 8 countries. Now, let's advance to 5 a.m. for some morning astronomy. In the east we can see Saturn rising, while in the north, lower on the horizon, we can see Vega in the constellation Lyra. This can be a tricky one to spot because of how low it is, but this is the star we use as the brightness reference for everything else that we measure in the night sky. Finally, let's jump to the 31st because we have another lunar occultation, Starting around 7 p.m, the full moon passes in front of Antares, high in the eastern sky. This is definitely worth looking out for. It'll be clearly visible in binoculars or a telescope, and as we've seen several Antares occultations already this year, and we've only had one blue moon, we can use this information to confidently predict that Antares occultations happen more often than once in a blue moon. Anyway, that's our night sky for May. Clear skies and happy stargazing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.